The PS5 Pro is here. AMD 9800 XDR has released, and the successor to Switch plans to have a feature that Switch owners are probably going to want. I'm the Core, your resident entertainment techie, and you're watching This Week in Entertainment Tech. I have a shameless plug this week, though technically it was not released this week, but I still wanted to let you know about the video. In my latest video, I talk about the Toshiba DR410, a DVD recorder that is able to upscale to 1080p and can be used with retro consoles. I wanted to see how well the upscaler did against emulation using the PlayStation Saturn, and I thought some of you might be interested in the results. In emulation this week, multi-emulator application Ares has recently released an update. The most noticeable additions for this update include support for games with 256 kilobytes of SRAM for the SNES, which is mainly used for ROM hacks, a pixel toggle for the Game Boy Advance, which should result in a significant performance increase when disabled, and pack swapping on controller port 1 for the Nintendo 64. Ares currently has 33 platforms available on the application and has a main focus of accuracy for their emulated hardware. PPSSPP, a PlayStation Portable Emulator version 1.18.1 is now available. The biggest change to this update makes iOS support official and is now considered feature complete, with the exception of microphone emulation and some minor user interface elements missing from this latest version. While the version is currently going through the review process for it to become available on the App Store, the developers cite that it has been problematic and may take some time before it becomes available. A rolling release is now available for DuckStation, a PlayStation emulator. This latest rolling release comes with a laundry list of changes. Some of the more notable changes seem to involve fixes for the GPU implementation with hardware, software, and the Vulkan renderer. DevMia, developer of the popular Sega Saturn emulator Yaba Shanshiro, announced their plans to release a new Windows version of the popular emulator for Sega Saturn's 30th anniversary. The last official Windows update for Yaba Shanshiro, aka UO Ubaus, aka Yaba Shanshiro 2, was 2 years ago, and from the change notes, it looks like some upgrades and bug fixes are just a few of the things the version will bring to the table. The Saturn anniversary date is officially on November 22nd. Yaba Shanshiro, aka Yaba Shanshiro 2, is currently available on Android and iOS platforms. MAME for Droid has released an update that adds the latest update of MAME version 0.271. Version 0.271 adds big improvements to the Namco System 23, with the popular game for this hardware being Time Crisis 2. Simple Launcher has released the latest update for their emulator front-end application. Version 3.4 adds a new menu item called Tools. This new menu item has options for creating batch files for PS3 games, ScumVM games, and Windows games, while also adding a tool to organize system images. In our main news this week, the PS5 Pro is now available and the reviews are in. Starting with some specs, the PS5 Pro seems to have its original CPU, a Ryzen Zen 2 with 8 cores, 16 threads, a new GPU with 16.7 teraflops that uses RDNA, GDDR6 16GB of memory with an additional DDR5 2GB of memory, and a 2TB SSD. YouTube channel Digital Foundry has released their initial impressions with the PlayStation 5 Pro, breaking down all the new features available with the upgrade. Starting with what is most likely the biggest feature of the PS5 Pro, PSSR, Sony's take on image reconstruction, the consensus seems to be that it works well in all of PlayStation's first-party titles, though most of the third-party titles that have initially been tested aren't doing too well. Of the third-party titles initially tested with PSSR, Final 7 Rebirth has shown the best implementation in a new mode titled Versatility, which essentially merges the quality and performance mode together. Another PS5 exclusive, Stellar Blade, has also received some big improvements with PSSR as well, with them noting the fact that it looks much better than the optimal TAA the developers used. Games that have not gotten the PS5 Pro enhancement support, which utilize what Sony is calling Game Boost, were also tested as well, and so far it looks like there is an estimated 30% increase in performance when compared to the original PS5. The most promising of the initial tests was the recently released JRPG Metaphor ReFantazio, which now seems to be able to hit a consistent 60 frames per second. Other big titles like Game of the Year winner Elden Ring has shown a boost in performance, though it still fails to consistently hit 60 frames per second. With that being said, it was noted that TVs with VRR support will benefit greatly from the boost in performance, as the original PS5 was not capable of maintaining VRR due to its 48 frames per second cap. Another new feature of the PS5 Pro was the advanced ray tracing support, which from what was gathered from the analysis was mainly an addition of ray trace reflections in games that were not originally supported, though additional shadows and global illumination was also mentioned as well. A PS4 feature known as image enhancement was also showcased. This PS5 Pro option adds a post-processing filter that seems to use a form of machine learning. In certain games, it can upscale certain details from a 1080p resolution to 4K, with text being the biggest notable improvement after in-game textures. The biggest highlight of the PS5 Pro undoubtedly had to be Horizon Dawn Forbidden West, which surprisingly isn't using PSSR, but has been touted as having the best image quality and performance mode out of all games currently tested. While we're on the subject of PS5, recently Sony had their financial results presentation with the chairman of Sony Interactive Entertainment, Hiroki Totoki, outlining their future plans for the fiscal year of 2025. Totoki confirmed their plans for starting out with Ghost of Yote, noting that they will continue to release major single-player games every fiscal year moving forward. This year saw the release of Sony's live game rollout, and while Helldivers 2 managed to have breakout sales, their second release, Concord, resulted in the game shutting down only 11 days after the release, with Sony closing the developer of Concord, Firewalk, 2 weeks later. Totoki addressed this failure during the presentation and hinted at plans to move forward with live service games alongside their single-player offering. The Ryzen 7 9800 XDD is now available in stores. Priced at $480, the same price as its predecessor, the 7800 XDD, it would seem that once again the XDD line of CPUs is proving to be a powerhouse when it comes to gaming performance. YouTube channel Hardware Unboxed released a review for the CPU a day before its official release, testing it in 14 games, and the results showed an 11 performance boost over the 7800 X3D. In terms of the comparisons with Intel's CPU, the 9800 X3D had a 26% performance boost over the 14900K and a whooping 33% performance boost over the recently released 285K. For those interested in emulation performance, Tech Power Up has released their usual benchmarks using the RPCS3 emulator, with Intel's 14900K only slightly edging out the 9800 X3D, while the 9800 X3D edges out the 285K, though when it comes to comparisons with the 7800 X3D, the 9800 X3D has a 8% performance uplift over its predecessor. Ryujinx's performance fares much better for the 9800 X3D, with it outperforming the 14900K by 17% and the 285K by 27% respectively. While AMD is currently the CPU leader when it comes to game performance, Intel is not completely succeeding its obvious defeat. Intel VP Robert Hollock believes there are certain issues happening at the OS level that may be affecting the performance of their current CPUs, and says they are planning a rollout for late November or early December that should address the gaming performance woes of Arrow Lake. Nintendo has quieted concerns for their new console. During a second quarter financial results and corporate management policy briefing for the fiscal year, Nintendo President Shintaro Furukawa has confirmed that the Switch Successor will be backwards compatible. It was also mentioned that the Nintendo Switch Online will be available on the Switch Successor as well, alongside the Nintendo account, allowing players to migrate purchases and gameplay from the Switch. One of the other notable confirmations was the official announcement of the Switch Successor, which is slated to be revealed during the fiscal year. The fiscal year ends in March 2025, which suggests Nintendo will unveil the new console around that time. Mario and Luigi Brothership has officially released on the Nintendo Switch. This title now marks the 6th entry in a series of games that dates all the way back to the Game Boy Advance. The series was mainly regulated to handhelds, making this the first game in the series to be playable on a home console. At the moment, the game stands at a 79 average on Metacritic. Halo 2 is 25 years old, and to celebrate the game's anniversary, Halo Studios is releasing new content for Halo Infinite and a special exclusive for Halo the Master Chief Collection on PC via Steam. The Great Journey is a Halo Infinite update that adds fan-favorite maps along with Halo 2 style gameplay adjustments to the game. Another big addition to the latest update is third-person gameplay, which is something that was originally planned for the first game in the series. The third-person mode will be available in Firefight King of the Hill, Fiesta Fight King of the Hill, Gruntpocalypse King of the Hill, and Gruntpocalypse Fiesta King of the Hill. For PC owners of the Master Chief Collection on Steam, a special mod is now available in the Steam Workshop that has recreated the original Halo 2 E3 2003 demo. This effort was a collaboration with the Halo modding community and Halo Studios, with much of the work being done by Steven Garcia, or as he is known within the community, General 101. Stardew Valley's developer has released their highly anticipated PC update for their popular farm sim. This update is huge, bringing with it content and features, balance changes, quality of life changes, technical changes, a ton of gameplay fixes, multiplayer fixes, display text and localization fixes, cosmetic fixes, gamepad fixes, changes for modded players, and changes for mod authors. This latest update, which is a part of version 1.6 that released on PC back in March of this year, also coincides with the release of version 1.6 for the console and mobile ports of the game as well. If you have been on the fence about purchasing the Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, Capcom wants to help you make a decision, as they have now released a playable demo on all available platforms. The demo lets you play from the beginning of the game, though certain things may differ from the full version. If you decide to purchase the full version after playing the demo, keep in mind that save data from the demo will not be transferable. Death Stranding Director's Cut is now available on Xbox Series XS, PC via the Microsoft Store, and Luna. Currently half off its original retail price of $40, Death Stranding's creator is Hideo Kojima, the mind behind the very lauded Metal Gear Solid series. Death Stranding first released in 2019 as an exclusive for the PlayStation 4, with the director's cut landing on the PS5 initially in 2021. In addition to this announcement, Kojima Productions has confirmed the studio now has full ownership of the Death Stranding intellectual property, which was previously a registered trademark of Sony Interactive Entertainment. This news came on the heels of the 5th year anniversary of Death Stranding, and the video you're currently watching is a commemoration of the game now available on the official YouTube channel. Death Stranding 2 is currently slated to release in 2025 on the PlayStation 5, with Sony Interactive Entertainment being the publisher of the upcoming title. Metal Slug Tactics has officially released. Metal Slug Tactics is a turn-based strategy game akin to the very popular XCOM series, which originally started on the PC, but Metal Slug Tactics certainly adds a great deal of its own gameplay elements to set itself apart. The Metal Slug franchise originally got its start as a run-and-gun platformer on the Neo Geo arcade system, and I don't think anyone could have fathomed it crossing over in a new genre, let alone a turn-based one. After much speculation and a ton of rumors, it has officially been confirmed that a new Virtual Fighter is in fact in development. In a recent interview on Video Games Chronicle website, Andy Robinson talked with Justin Scarpone, who is currently Sega's global head of transmedia. When asked how challenging it is to make sure original IPs like Shinobi, Eternal Champions, and Crazy Taxi will resonate with the modern audience, Scarpone confirmed another Virtual Fighter was in development in addition to the games that were announced at last year's Game Awards. Many are speculating that the new Virtual Fighter may get an official reveal at the Game Awards this year. Virtual Fighter was the first 3D fighting game ever created, and as such is considered the godfather of the most popular 3D fighting game of all time, Tekken. As it stands, Tekken 8 is the only 3D fighting game that has been developed for the current generation, so one can definitely hope that a new Virtual Fighter will bring more games in the same subgenre to the forefront. While we're on the topic of Sega, the publisher has announced the Sega Mega Drive and Genesis Classics and Dreamcast Classics, along with individual games, will be delisted on Steam December 6th. Outside of Steam, other platforms are also getting Sega Genesis Classics delisted as well. If you have already purchased these collections or individual titles, Sega has assured it will still be available in your library after they are delisted. It was also confirmed that individual titles will still be playable on the Nintendo Switch Online subscription. Sega has not given a reason as to why they are removing these collections from digital platforms, with speculations of collections or new hardware making the rounds in the rumor mill. Steam has recently released an update for their application. The biggest addition to this latest update adds a new recording feature. The option can automatically start recording your game on launch and gives you the option to edit and share your video game recording on the fly. I do plan to do a quick video about this feature, so be on the lookout for that in the coming days. Nvidia is making some big changes to the GeForce Now game streaming service. Priority membership subscribers are being changed to the new performance membership at no additional cost. The performance membership feature will allow subscribers to stream up to 1440p compared to the original 1080p that was available in the original membership. In addition to the subscription tier changes, next year GeForce Now will impose a monthly 100-hour playtime cap. For those who are already active members, you'll still be able to enjoy unlimited playtime in 2025, with the cap being enforced in 2026. And to those who lock into the new membership before December 31st of this year, you will also be able to enjoy unlimited playtime for all of 2025. NVIDIA GeForce Now supports games on Steam, Epic Game Store, Ubisoft Connect, Electronic Arts, and GOG. The PC version of Red Dead Redemption has been out for a week, and in that time, a big mod has been released. Titled Reality Redemption, this special mod improves performance, reflection quality, physics for liquids, AI behavior, the game camera so it behaves more like the second game in the series, John Marston textures, and game world textures. More environment improvements are currently a work in progress, and there are plans to add improved weapons and environment sounds. A Watchdog mod that merges the Worst mod and Living City mod together is now available. The Worst mod provided improved textures, effects that were shown in the E3 trailer, and changes to the camera, while the Living City mod adds custom missions, random events, and new gadgets. A new mod is available for the PvE mode of Space Marines, known as Operations. The biggest highlight of this mode now allows you and your teammates to both enjoy the same class, no longer making it a limitation. The mod even has additional execution animations, and these two features are only scratching the surface. This particular mod that goes by the name Our Stardust Overhaul is available for download on Nexus Mods. Well, that is all I have for this week in Entertainment Tech. If you enjoyed the content, please make sure you like the video and consider subscribing to the channel. For now, this is The Core, your entertainment techie, signing out.